Hi everyone. So today we're going to talk about the coding practices of block code programming. My name is Amy. I'm going to give you this introduction and go over later about my presentation. So here's our introduction. So we're teaching Dominators and we're after our challenge team and as you know we're success level. So we were first founded by July 4th, originally City, and now it's the third season of us. So we're rising first explainers from all over the schools in the DFW area. And here are some achievements. So as a masterpiece season, we won an innovation award, third place in the state championships. And so we won Rising All-Star Award in the New Jersey, New York. And then the summer season, to get this championships award and the state championship. And then we advanced to the world championship with Houston this year. So now I'm going to go through the flow of our agenda today for our presentation. So first of all, we're going to give an introduction about what are good coding practices. And then we're going to tell about what are the benefits of good coding practices. In the final one, we're going to talk about good coding practices about coding language. So some example sentences are function and variable name, comment, error message, file backup, file name, and a full structure. So now I'm going to pass it on to my teammate Anna, who's going to talk about what a group can do.
Thank you, Amy. Now, what are some good coding practices? One of them is writing clear and descriptive code, essentially using names and structures that will help the understanding of you and your teammates. Another good practice is commenting your code. Comments are used to describe the reasoning behind your logic and to describe what the code is supposed to do. For example, this short code at the bottom is supposed to convert a given amount of hours into minutes and seconds. However, because it wasn't commented at all, it's hard for you to understand its purpose. The longer code on the other side, however, was commented so that a teammate or anyone you work with can understand what's going on. Before you start coding, however, you need to plan your code with pseudocode. That means you need to use high-level but simple language to describe and plan out how the code is supposed to work. Think about a recipe. Next is using error messages to fix issues. Sometimes the code will not work the way you want it to, and that's why you should read each message carefully to figure out the problem and find out how to fix it. Frequently backing up your code is a highly recommended practice, which means you need to regularly save copies of your code so you never lose your work. Next, please. And finally, having a clear code repository means storing all your code files in a place with good structure and neat focus. For example, the files at the bottom, they are stored with good structure, however, their names won't be meaningful, and it will be hard to understand which one you need without looking at it. And now I will pass this to Yingwei, who will explain why we speak.
Why do we need good coding practices? We need good coding practices because, first of all, it keeps it clean so you can easily maintain it and read it. And comprehensive comment and documentation, this can also always help maintain it. If you structure your code well, you can easily know where to add something, like if you need to add a mission in between two missions, you can just where the codes you are. And if you frequently commit to a code repository, so like updating your code, you can easily prevent data loss and get your code back. And you can save time and resources in the long run. The code on the example code is something that you should probably not follow. You definitely not follow because it is long and there's no comments and there's no like debugging. So if like one part of it doesn't work, you don't know where it will be.
So in the following slides, we're going to introduce some coding practices. So here's how our team organizes our code. The group structures the code together to increase readability and usability. Readability because when you have a problem and you need to go, you can look at your code and instantly know where to fix and where you should save. It increases reusability, but it increases reusability because when you need to reuse a custom JavaScript code or some kind of other custom code that you might reuse over time, then easily reuse it instead of just writing a bunch of code over your screen and then you're going to have to code through all the code over and over just to find out one single problem you read. Also, be careful. Don't download, copy, and paste to a different file. We have tried it and it doesn't work exactly as you can with it. So in order to do that, you need to drag out a block and create a variable function again by your own hand. And then next is my talking about how to use the comments.
So another good coding practice is comments. But comments are good because it can make your code more organized. Comments can also let you know, but comments can also let you and other people know what this part of the code does. Comments can also let you easily debug the code. Like for example, if this went wrong, you can know which part of the code went wrong. This is debug it. Comments can also remind you to add something later. But if you forgot it as me today, so you can add a comment and you can add a comment.
When you get error messages, you need a way to show what works and what doesn't in your code. There are three useful methods for doing that: light blocks, play blocks, and sound blocks. We have a live demonstration for this. It runs, and it shows red. It runs again, and then it beeps. And then it runs again, and then it displays a number. We back up our files. Backup meaning that we store files on the computer and on the cloud. For example, we use Google Drive. For Windows users, the files are stored in documents/Lego Education Spike app, as you can see in the picture there. For Mac and Chromebook users, the instructions are given in the resource page. We drag and drop the files from our computer in Google Drive to back them up. And we back them up because when computers break, files stored on them might not be retrieved, meaning you can't get code that you worked so hard on. This is a big problem because it could set teams months back. So we put them in Google Drive so that you can access it on the cloud on another computer, even if the original computer breaks.
Um, Maybe your coding files is also a good coding practice because now you just import your files and Google Drive, and you can also provide basic information file without opening an app. So here's the name about file. First is about name, R1, and then date, December 29th, and then what week it starts at, right this, which is R, and then mission to the mission 6, 7, 13, and 12, and what week it ends at, R, right there, so we create it and it shows IC.
Another good coding practice is always make sure that you have a clear and understandable code structure. The folder should start with the letter R, as you can see there. Will show all the versions, either the past or the future code versions that you're going to use. And it should store all of them. And then the folder that start with B are the code that is specifically used for this specific competition. And you can see like the state competition, the regional That makes sense. And besides that folder, you should find all the code that you need inside for a competition. And you can, and at a competition, you can grab that file and then you can debug. And so the benefits are that you should know where, you can know where to, you need to find your specific file. And you can also put every single version that you might need for it. And here's some important resources that you can look up for more information. Thank you. Any questions?
Does anyone have any questions for them?
It's once an asset that said that you said instead of circle the line. Because I have a white nut. You know, that's true.
So are there any other questions? If not, I do have a question. Other than like Google Drive and things like that, are there any other specific websites or locations that you can store your code? To easier to communicate with each other, like updates and things like that.
Yeah, so besides the typical vendor that we use of Google Drive, we also use Gmail to communicate with other members, like Cat, and we also use Notion, our team website, to include like our weekly homework and other information.
Okay, so we have questions online. So one person's asking if you guys use Python.
So apart from the word block, we use like last year we used something called Hybrids, but it's basically just block coding, which we don't really use on Hybrids. Using kind of like a block base, and then we use the word format where we use Python, and then we put it in the like kind of like something between like and Python.
Okay, amazing. Okay. And then, oh, they're asking for you to put up the resources slide again. Yeah. Hold on. There you go. And then lastly, we have one more question. Do you use Spike Education?
So, on our first year, we used Spike Education for block coding. But that was our first year, and we advanced to other, like, editors to program our robot in the next few years.
Okay. Amazing. Okay. Can everyone give a round of applause?